The episode begins with a soul speaking to someone. One of them asks, "Do you have any regrets?" Hearing this, the soul starts to contemplate. The person in a black suit then says, "You can be honest. It's fine." Ignoring the question, the soul changes the subject. "You're wearing nice clothes. It's not easy to pull off such clothes. You have a good eye." The person in the suit replies, "Yes, but what about your wish? Don't change the topic." But the soul persists, still avoiding the question. "Do people in your line of work usually wear suits? So it's not just something out of a drama, huh?" The person in front of the soul states, "It's my work uniform." The soul, with a smile, responds, "It's strangely nice being able to be accompanied by such a stylish person on the day of my death." The person in the suit bursts into laughter. "Ahaha, Mr. Lee Jae-young, I appreciate the compliment, but I'm not like a grim reaper." After a moment, he continues, "Is what you're wearing what you used to wear, right?" We then see that our main character's name is Lee Jae-young. The suit person flicks his finger, pointing at Lee, and a suit appears on his body. He points again and says, "Now, tell me, what is it that you regret so much?" Lee Jae-young thinks for a moment and instantly replies, "Regret? I don't have any regrets." But the person in the suit insists, "Please try to remember. Think about it carefully. Or should I take a guess?" He then says with a smile, "Don't you regret becoming a salesman?" The scene flashes back to the past. Lee Jae-young begins to narrate his past. "Originally, you could have become a businessman or used your major to become a physical education teacher." The suit person asks Lee, "Isn't that right? Or am I saying something wrong?" Lee takes a small breath and says, "No, that's not true." The suit person continues, Okay, don't worry, I just remembered something. Getting rejected from the national team in high school? You had excellent skills but were pushed aside by factions and even suffered an injury. That's something worth regretting, isn't it? Now you remember something." Lee Jae-young? Lee starts thinking about his high school days. Then, with some fake pride, he says, "You know me very well. Haha, there were times like that." But then, realizing the truth of his past, he says with some regret, "But in the end, my friend who took my place won a gold medal, became part of the national team, and participated in the Olympics 3 times. But I have no regrets about it. If Taekwondo was my path, I would have persevered after 1 or 2 setbacks. I haven't quit it." The suit peon says, Okay, oh I know, it's a bit stretched, but," he pauses, then continues, "What about your father? Your father was scammed while running a business and, wow, you had to pay a 2 billion debt now. You sacrificed your youth to repay the debt without even filing for bankruptcy." Hearing all this, Lee Jae-young says with a smile and pride, "I paid it all off 3 years ago, both principal and interest. It took 14 years. You seem to have already read my thoughts. How amazing." Now he asks the suit person, "Then you probably know what I regret as well, don't you?" The suit person moves closer to Lee and says, "Mr. Jae-young, you're an interesting person, huh? Still, tell me, what is it that you truly regret?" Lee Jae-young closes his eyes and thinks about his past, specifically when he was just 27, with only a high school diploma, he thinks. In the next scene, Lee Jae-young says, "I made the wisest decision I could. An imported car salesman. At that time, the heyday of imported cars had just begun in South Korea, and I started this job knowing that with the right skills, I could earn a lot of money. Eventually, I eliminated the 2 billion debt through sales alone." Lee Jae-young also remembers his father's words while driving. A man is a fence. As a father, we take responsibility for our family and our children. That's what sustains a person. A father never lies. Do you trust me, son?" Our hero listens to his father's words carefully. Back in the present, Lee Jae-young, with a sad and regretful face, says, "Sales, it didn't improve right away. I had to temper my fiery personality and understand people. In sales, you're not getting better just because you work hard. I had to gain experience to know people better." Then, with a brighter face, he says, "In the end, I developed the skills, I paid off the debt." But suddenly, Lee Jae-young's voice drops. However, Lee remembers someone calling his name, Jae-rong. He is running in a hospital. After entering a room and seeing his mother crying for someone, he also starts crying. He reads his father's last words in a letter. "During those 10 years, every day I wanted to give up my life because I was so sorry. I only stared at your back that time. I felt sorry for that too. But now that I'm having this illness, I feel like I will become a bigger burden to you. I lay down my life, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Now it's clear that Lee Jae-young's father took his own life. Then Young says, I feel like I know how to do sales properly now. I might be able to do really well now, but my father couldn't see that. If only I could do it faster. The massive debt he left behind. His proud son has paid it all back. I wanted to show him that our life didn't crumble just because of 2 billion babe. If that were possible, I am able to help my father. You asked me about my regret. Huh, so that's my regret. And he starts crying. The person in the suit says after listening to all of this, Mr. Jae-young, do you know that your mother is safe? Hearing this, our hero says, thank God, I was the one driving. We then see a very severe car accident, and because of this, our main character lost his life. He says, I remember turning the steering wheel. Wiping the tears from his eyes, he says, even though it's regrettable to go before my mother, I feel at ease because I have a kind and pretty younger sister and a reliable brother-in-law. I can't be a fence for them anymore. Suddenly, the person stops him, placing his hand on his shoulder and says, close your eyes. Yang looks at him with curiosity. The suit person continues, this might be a bit of a loss for me, but whatever. Then leaning in, he says, that thing you regret, try doing it properly again when you go back. However, there will be penalties due to causality. He places his hand on Yang's head and a bright light emanates from his hand. He continues, your knowledge and experience will remain, but things like easily earning money, stocks going up, or real estate booming will be erased. Think of it like using an eraser, okay? It might be confusing for you, but still, don't open your eyes, don't regret this time, and live well. Now we see our main character back in time, sleeping on his bed and holding his neck because he can't breathe. He thinks, my head hurts. Then he looks forward, hearing some noises. We see his parents, his dad is sleeping, and his mom is trying to wake him up. Honey, his mom says, want to play a round of Go Stop? Seeing this, Young thinks, is this the semi-basement house in Daegi where we used to live? His dad groans. His mom says, you are putting on a show because you are afraid of losing money to me, right? If you keep lying down, you will get bed sores. His dad replies quickly, okay, I am sorry. If you're sorry, let's play just 10 rounds. No, 5 rounds. Yeah? His mom insists. Geez, you really... His dad starts. Who else would I play with if not you? His mom retorts. Our main character goes near them and starts crying just by seeing them. He thinks, I have really come back. His mother notices him and says, oh my son, you are not asleep yet. Our main character responds in a low voice, I woke up because Lady Wang was begging to play Go Stop. Then he says to his dad, Dad. His dad, without fully listening, says, I'm sorry. Lee Jae-young sits near him and starts saying, Dad, you don't have to look at me, just listen. He also puts his hand on his father, 2 billion, it's a lot. We see his father is also crying. It's a huge amount that my dad's having a hard time because of that. But it's strange, I don't feel that it's too much. I just feel like I have to pay it all off. No, I'm confident I'll pay it off quickly. It won't take long. Then Lee Jae-young places his head on his father's shoulder. His father starts crying badly after hearing his son's words, so please watch over me. Lee also tries to convince his father to live and see him grow. You know your son never lies, right? Dad, you trust me, right? He looks at his mother and says with a small smile, assuring his father, now I'll be the fence for you. He promised himself a resolute vow this time, I will protect my family. The tender moment shifted as his mother inquired, anyway, son, shouldn't you go to bed soon? You have an interview tomorrow. Young looked bewildered. Interview tomorrow? What are you saying, Mom? His mother affirmed, yes. Mom even bought a suit for you to do well in the interview. She gestured towards a hanging black suit. See? The scene transitioned to a subway car pulling into a station. An announcement chimed, this stop, 19 Xizang Market. Xizang Market Station. Our protagonist stood in the subway, gripping a support, his gaze sweeping over the other passengers. Something feels strange, he mused. He retrieved his phone, examining it intently. It's definitely not this small and toy-like thing, but when I take it out and look at it and tap it, I'm not sure. A month ago, my father's business failed, so I came down to Daiga as if I was being chased, just carrying my clothes. He caught his reflection in the train window. In my past life, Daigai was a city of love and hate for me. It was just my mother's hometown, a strange place without any connection to me. It was the worst condition to start a business, and it was painful. I've returned to that starting point. I guess that was a devil, probably. The image of the man in the black suit flashed in his mind. Like that man said, it feels like my memory has been erased with an eraser, and some future information is missing. I don't remember at all about stocks, real estate, or even which company or technology would cause a surge in stock prices. However, information about cars is vividly retained from the past to the future. It's fortunate, at least I'm sure about which car stock to invest in. The next scene showed Young at his interview location, greeting someone with a polite, "Hello, I'm Jai Rong. I'm here for the interview." An office door swung open and an irritated voice called out, "Come in." The person turned back and asked someone inside, "Do we have an interview today?" Recognition dawned on our hero. "Yeah, nice to see you too, Che-Ling Cho." The receptionist informed him, "Yes, the branch manager and team leaders are in a meeting, so please wait over there for a moment." Young's eyes landed on the receptionist. A faint smile touched his lips. "It's been a while, Nam and he. I want to greet you so badly, but I have to endure it. It's everyone's first meeting with me this time." He turned, his gaze falling upon a car company named Taylor. The narrative then provided background information on the company. Taylor, even people who don't know much about cars have probably heard of the Model T at least once. Taylor is the brand name created from the founder's last name, and although it wasn't the world's first car company, it has a history of accelerating the popularization of cars by several steps with the massive success of the Model T. In my past life, or a week ago, I vaguely mentioned wanting to work at every luxury car showroom in Daegu and told them I wanted to join the company. The only place that responded with a smile and suggested meeting in person was Taylor. Later, I found out that from the perspective of all receptionists at showrooms, inquiries about recruitment were not very pleasant calls. It was natural, because I wasn't a customer. Moreover, there was almost no official recruitment, and personnel recruitment was handled internally according to the situation. That's the way imported car dealerships operated, so such recruitment inquiries were likely to be ignored. Lost in thought, Young was interrupted by the receptionist. "Excuse me," she said. He turned. "Please follow me." "Okay," Young replied, and they ascended the stairs. That day was a stroke of luck. The branch manager personally answered the phone. Strange, it feels familiar yet unfamiliar. But in this life, I will change everything. Reaching an office entrance, the receptionist announced, "Your interview will be taken there." Young thanked her, and she departed. "Did I have interviews in meeting rooms in my past life as well?" he pondered before entering. He stepped inside and bowed his head. "Hello," he greeted the four people seated at the table. One of them remarked, "You came early, have a seat. Coincidentally, your interview overlaps with the team leaders meeting, so I invited you here. It's fine with you, right? You want to join us?" Yang gave a simple yes. Branch manager Lee Sang-sik then asked, "Why? Tell us why we should pick you." Young's mind raced as he looked at the manager. "In my past life, it was the second year since I joined the company." He resigned due to poor performance. In this field, where achievements are both business cards and personalities, being a branch manager was not out of the question, especially for branch managers in regions with a small number of showrooms. Nevertheless, branch manager Lee Sang-sik was a person too soft to be a manager, because he always tried to take care of the employees first. His gaze shifted to another person. "The real powerhouse here is team leader Choi Min-ho," he noted, identifying the person with glasses, the sales king and senior team leader who single-handedly achieved a third of Taylor Daegu showroom sales. "In the past, he was someone I couldn't even approach because it was hard for me, but now the core inside this body is an experienced salesperson who has been through everything. A salesperson who is more than 40 years old. Honestly, they're all young. They're all so young." A voice from the panel inquired, "Is it too pressuring? Don't think too hard. Relax. Before I had to sell myself in this interview so people would choose me. This time I'm the one making the choice. Let's be the branch manager for a long, long time, comfortably." Young began to speak, addressing the panel. "When selling cars, the best customers are those who need a car right away. You might think that's not sales, but I believe understanding and fulfilling the customer's needs." He paused, turning to the manager. "Is this the basis of sales?" The manager smiled simply and replied, "Yes, this is the basis of sales." Yang continued. Currently, the composition of sales staff at Taylor's showroom, including 3 team leaders, there should be 4 members in each team, so there's supposed to be 12 in total. However, there are only 11. Everyone on the panel looked at him with surprise. Undeterred, Yang concluded, "The reason you should choose me as a salesman in this showroom is to fulfill the needs of one more person in this office, and that's why you should pick me." "Oh, so how did you check our employee numbers to understand so accurately?" John Baik asked calmly, smiling at Zhang. Zhang Baik replied, "The branch manager called me a week ago and invited me for an interview. During that time, I checked the Taylor showroom situation. After observing for 3 days, I found that there are only 11 sales staff here and the staffing structure doesn't seem quite right. Coincidentally, I saw 3 people from one team having a meeting. That's when I realized there was a vacant position." The answer had clarity and credibility, but in reality, none of it was true, Zhang thought. He was just stating information from his past life. As soon as Zhang finished speaking, Sales King Choi Minyo raised his hand and said, "Branch manager, I have something to say. This boy is skilled in understanding his capabilities in the enemy. 100 battles, 100 victories. Quite good, isn't it?" Choi Minyo praised Zhang and then, changing his tone, looked at Zhang with sharp eyes. "But why that specific position? Can't you go to another one? What's the reason for leaving that spot vacant until we officially announce recruitment?" Zhang knew that Choi Minyo was a double-edged sword. Despite his excellent abilities, he was someone who only focused on his own sales and would leave others behind for his own benefit. He had developed many bad habits in the sales organization for his convenience. Choi Minyo stared at Zhang's young face, reminding him, "This is a crucial position, but it doesn't seem like there's a need for recruitment at this time." Zhang replied with a smile, "Still, it would be very inconvenient, because there are already 3 people on the team. Whether it's midweek or the weekend, 2 people are working every day, those who meet in the morning also work, and if what I observed is true, then a team of 3 must be very tired. Their fatigue will reduce their performance, and they will get 25% less rest compared to other teams." Zhang suddenly fell silent, prompting Choi Minyo to remind him, "Continue, and you need hard-working people, and this is the last recruitment. If no one resigns, even colleagues and team leaders will feel more secure with more people. At some point, you will need an honest employee who can increase sales. You will have to endure inconveniences due to the staff shortage. But as soon as the right person is found, the situation will improve. I think you have left that position vacant for quite some time." Zhang's conclusions were quite accurate. Choi Minyo patted his chest and said, "That's right, but whoever sits in that position will have to be honest. You will get that job. Would you like it? But if you don't work hard, you will be fired. That's clear, so no matter how logical your explanation, your reasons are not valid." Zhang placed his hand on his chest, smiled very gently, and said, "But team leader, it seems you didn't hear my story. I can't show it properly in a short time, so I need a trial period. I apologize." Every word Zhang spoke was polite and calm, but no one could underestimate him. He wouldn't be intimidated at all, no matter how difficult the manager's question. Almost everyone in the room was shocked and astonished. They suddenly realized that the young man sitting in front of them was not as naive as he looked. Indeed, Zhang was strong because he had both the courage and the means to believe in himself. Moreover, this was a business organization, not a game. A talented person who leads in every conversation without intimidating or tiring people. This is an essential quality in business. However, Zhang would have to overcome Choi Minyo to stabilize in his new position, as he was the one who made the final decision on employees. These are the processes I will implement. And what I said, if I were to say I would do a good job in this position, you probably wouldn't believe it, and perhaps you wouldn't want to guarantee the results. The process of achieving results is not just about working alone, but also the partnership between colleagues, the support of superiors who work together, and the solid shield of the branch manager. By utilizing all these people and their advantages, I will create my own business process. The last thing I want to say is effort. Choi Minyo felt uneasy listening to Zhang's explanation. This is just a boy who is unaware of reality and just talks flowery words, he thought. But Zhang immediately sensed this discomfort, and this reaction was exactly what he had expected. Choi Minyo's face looked as if the 2 words unease and dissatisfaction had made their home there. No matter how excellent a salesman Choi Minyo was, he didn't care how he sold. Many people had been affected by his own principles. Zhang still regretted the most that he couldn't stop the person he couldn't stop in his past life, the branch manager. Now the branch manager, who had been silent, spoke and made a decision. Zhang would be given a week to prove his worth. Zhang smiled and said, "It will take me about 2 days." "Ah, it would be good if you could start work sooner, but do you know what a week means?" "So you said 2 days?" Lee Sang-sik asked. Zhang replied honestly, "Yes, absolutely." Hearing his sincere answer, the branch manager laughed and said, "Haha, okay, I'm really waiting to see how long your enthusiasm lasts. The trial period will start this Wednesday, so take a week off and come back next Monday to start work. You'll be quite busy after starting, so prepare yourself mentally." The first step in establishing your roots in this company was somewhat stable, which made Zhang feel relieved and heaved a sigh of relief. "Yes, sir, I will come to work next week." As soon as the interview ended, a manager stealthily entered the branch manager's office. Another team leader quietly looked around like a thief and drew the curtains. Amidst the manager's confusion, branch manager Lee Sang-sik said angrily, "What are you doing in my office?" "Haha, it's been a long time. I made you back special water." Lee Sang-sik looked at the warm cup and reluctantly pushed it aside. "Don't do this anymore. It's starting to scare me." "Haha, manager, who was that boy just now?" he replied sternly, taking a sip of water. "His name is Jung Ben." John Beg looked at his manager with pleading eyes. "Now it's our turn to reorganize the team, include me in that group." The manager replied, "No, even if we reorganize it, not with you." "What?" John Beg suddenly stood up angrily. Why under Choi Min-hyo?" Lee Sang-sik shouted angrily, "Just stop it. Get out. You're making too much noise." After this commotion, Jung Bak was kicked out. It was at that moment that he saw someone knocking on the door, and it was none other than Choi Minyo. Manager asked, "What's the matter?" Team leader Choi Minyo said seriously, approaching the branch manager's question. "The boy who just came for the interview, let me handle him." The branch manager listened carefully to Choi Minyo's words and then looked at him with deep eyes. "It's nothing, manager. I just need a chance to teach that boy." Hearing the branch manager's decision to put the new guy in Choi Minyo's team, John Baek shouted angrily, "What? Why under Choi Minyo? I don't understand why this is happening. When Team 3 is in trouble, why is Team 1 getting such a good person?" Lee Sang-sik smiled and explained to Jung Baek, "You can see his potential too, right? Wherever he goes, he won't bow down and will only say what's necessary. Yes, a bit arrogant, but it's okay. There's nothing wrong with Choi Minhyo teaching him." Jung Baek was not satisfied with these explanations. "This isn't for Choi Minyo. He won't train the sales staff. Instead, he's thinking of creating Choi Minyo clones like Minyo, from whom he can get whatever work he wants. You know that Choi Minyo's team will never reveal their strategies." The branch manager paused for a moment but didn't change his decision. After all, it was true that Choi Minyo could quickly train talented people. "I've told you before, but you never listen." Jungbak gritted his teeth angrily and said, "Sung-sik, I know you give a lot of importance to team leader Choi Minhyo, but if that boy becomes good and leaves Choi Minhyo's own team behind, do you think he'll just sit quietly? You yourself have seen that Choi Minhyo's team will never be quiet. In the end, someone will have to leave, right? Don't you remember what happened with Sung-hee last time?" Hearing Sang-hee's name, the branch manager's eyebrows rose and he shook his head. "Really? I got you a cup of coffee, and now I have to listen to all this nonsense." Jungbek came closer, agitated, and exclaimed, "Why? Why am I saying things I shouldn't? Can't I say anything to you? To be honest, if you keep treating Choi Minyo's team so well, who knows how they'll treat you later. Even as a ranch manager, there are some things you can't see." The branch manager held his head and waved his hands wearily. "For God's sake, just stop it now. I understand. Now get out." John Baek took a deep breath, composed himself, and warned seriously, "Choi Minyo's team is more ambitious than you think, so please make a wise decision because this might be the last chance." After this, John Baek stood up and left the manager's office. Only time would tell whether the branch manager would change his decision or not. Time passed quickly, and a week went by. In a small, ordinary house, Jung was engrossed in books. His younger sister's voice came from the room. "Oppa, your shirt has arrived." Jung said, "Thank you. Let me do it next time. You're busy too." It's okay, Appa. I was ironing my clothes anyway, so I did yours too. His sister looked at the book in her brother's hands and tilted her head in surprise. What's this? This is a car's instruction manual and specification sheet. It has a detailed description and statistics of the car's performance and features. His sister carefully looked at the book's complex text and confusing data and said with a sigh, "Oh my God, do you have to memorize all this?" Yes. I've been looking at it for a week, so it's almost done now. Looking at his sister's hard work, Jiang shook his head, lost in deep thought. Usually, I don't go to this extent, and a normal company just gives new people a little information and then lets them learn little by little every day. But this time was different. After the interview, someone came up behind Zhang and gave him this car instruction manual and specification sheet. That person was team leader Zhang Beck. He had advised Zhang to be confident and stay away from useless things. Yes. Maybe I was a good person in my past life, so I'm getting this help. Now I should work hard, and my sister is also doing 2 or 3 jobs at once. His sister didn't consider it a big deal because she was just doing part-time jobs. Secretly watching his sister's hard work, Zhang smiled and encouraged her, "Still, don't tire yourself out too much, and this time probably won't be too difficult." The next morning, Zhang arrived very early at the car dealership and stood behind the branch manager. "Hello, good morning everyone. Gather around," the branch manager said. "Today is Monday, so there's nothing particularly special, just that a new employee is joining our showroom. He's a very talented person, and his name is Zhang." After the manager's introduction, Zhang calmly stepped forward in front of everyone. But inside, he was a bit nervous, though he couldn't understand why he was feeling so happy. "Hello everyone, my name is Zhang, and I'm starting work today. I'm happy to be a part of this showroom, and I will work hard." Manager Lee Song-sik patted Zhang on the shoulder and said, "Come on, let's all work well together. And today our team will be reorganized," the branch manager announced. In his previous life, Zhang had been placed in the vacant position in Team 3, and there had been no reorganization for a year. He felt a bit strange thinking about whether things would change if it started early this time. Okay, Team 1 will have 3 people, including team leader Zhang Beck. Team 2 will have the new employee, Zhang, and the rest will go to Team 3. The branch manager quickly announced, "There will be no separate meeting with the team leaders today, so the new members can meet their respective teams and start working." Zhang found the surrounding atmosphere a bit different, especially Choi Minyo's gaze, which didn't move at all. Zhang couldn't help but feel serious because something had changed. Why? He didn't understand, but then someone came forward and said in a clear voice, "Hello Zhang, you seem quite tall. Our Team 2 meeting will be outside," Zhang Beck said with a warm smile. "Okay, let's go then." Zhang found this situation a bit strange. Zhang Beck said, "Because the meeting is over now?" Zhang asked, surprised, "What? The meeting is already over?" Zhang Beck repeated, "Yes, the meeting is over. You both seem quite busy, so go ahead. We'll have some personal talk." When the two finished the meeting and decided to leave, Zhang Beck immediately came and sat next to Zhang. "What was that confusing scene?" Zhang Beck said. "Hey Zhang, I don't know if you like being a rebel or not," Zhang Beck asked softly. Zhang shook his head at this and said, "No, I don't." "Then what? When you're angry, do you behave like that?" Zhang Beck whispered. Zhang remained silent because he didn't want to answer this question. "Oh, you seem like the type who often rebels. What a shame. There's someone I really need to kill, and I was hoping you'd do it so I wouldn't have to get my hands dirty." Zhang Beck's words, which might have been a joke or the truth, shocked Zhang for a moment. He couldn't understand if these were his real intentions or just a joke. "Your body is very good. You work out a lot, don't you?" Touching Zhang made him shiver. "Yes, I used to study Taekwondo," Zhang said. It felt completely like a stranger's meeting, utterly confusing, but according to Zhang's memories, Zhang Beck was very skilled at making people uncomfortable. "Hey new colleague, why did you decide to come into sales?" Zhang thought for a moment, and then he replied very wisely, "Because there's a lot of money in selling, isn't there, team leader? And I also really like cars." Zhang Beck nodded and then said abruptly, "Everyone here thinks the same. Is there a specific reason why you like cars?" "What do you mean by a reason?" Suddenly some old memories flashed before Zhang's eyes. like a drooping dog in a sukkata hanging on the car's rearview mirror. His father, who always looked at Jang from the rearview mirror with a smile, and his mother, who would sing along with the music amidst the summer rays, and his younger sister, who would fall asleep with her head on his lap. At that time, if he closed his eyes gently, the sound of the car's engine would be clearly audible. The car's engine and its vibrations gave Jang a pleasant sensation in his body. Family together. He began to think, holding his father's steering wheel, the car was moving smoothly, and he could never forget that warm feeling. After thinking about this, Jang said happily, "That's why I like cars." Then he says that just a month ago he was the sales king of imported cars. Now he's just an intern watching others sell cars. The world is truly uncertain and wonderful. If you ask me if there are any complaints, then the answer would be absolutely not. There's nothing to complain about. What could be better than this? A healthy body, a clear mind, and a mature spirit of 20 years. Now everyone in the company was present in the showroom, and Juntonbaek was standing, gesturing to everyone. The role-playing would now begin. Role-playing is a type of improvisational drama in which everyone plays the roles of customer and consultant and conducts consultations as if they were real. This was one of the daily training sessions at the imported car showroom. Yesterday, I played the role of a consultant, so today, Hong Chiao, you will be the consultant. Suddenly being called, Chai Han got a little startled, but Jung Baek gave him a reassuring smile. Relax, the 1000 model is easy. Out of options, Hong Chiao told himself. Okay, I've been here for 6 months, and if I sell 4 cars in 3 months by working the night shift, that wouldn't be bad, right? He went to the person acting as the customer and bowed politely. Hello sir, I'm Hong Chiao, a consultant from Taylor Showroom. The role-playing was ongoing, testing Hong Chiao's abilities. As soon as he finished consulting the customer, a series of new customers played by the branch manager arrived, making a lot of noise. So this was reality. Role-playing in this company was a form of public and legal harassment in action. Of course, enduring the pressure of people's questions was also part of the training, and it was a good way to learn what mistakes and awkward situations could arise while consulting with customers. This should be done moderately, Jung thought. And just then, Choi Minyo's cold voice echoed. Hong Chul, that's enough for now. Role-playing is done for the day. The next person is Jung. Hearing his name, Jung thought for a moment, trying to figure out why he had to do role-playing before he could say anything. Jung Bak teased Choi Minyo, who was sitting nearby. Wait, team leader Choi Minyo, this doesn't seem right. You can't make the youngest one do role-playing, especially not within a month. A fresh sprout with no experience. Choi Minyo looked at Jung with his fierce eyes and then smiled. He has to learn and face things, right? Taking care of each other, helping each other, and improving each other is what role-playing is all about. What difference will it make if he does it once? This conversation between team leader Jung Baek and Choi Minyo seemed like a strange occurrence. So everyone around started whispering and discussing. This is the first time everyone has seen them talk to each other. Meanwhile, Jung Baek was still insisting on protecting Jung. He will start his shift after 2 months. He should start from the 3rd month. Isn't that the rule we decided on earlier? What rule? Choi Minyo said mockingly. There are always exceptions. I'm asking him to do it. What's wrong with that? Hearing Choi Minyo's provoking words, Jung Baek got up angrily for a moment, but Jung stopped him. Understood. So, which car should I use? Jung Baek was surprised that Jung had decided to participate in the role-playing, while Choi Minyo watched him, pondering. Jung felt sorry for team leader Jung Baek. Smiling, Jung gently asked, Team leader, don't worry, I don't have a business card yet. Can I borrow yours for a moment? With the arrival of a new employee in the company, the dynamics between everyone had started to churn, so he had no other way but to properly show everyone his abilities. For a new employee, this role-playing, which was to evaluate adaptability, might have been a nightmare. But Jung was an exception. This made sense because out of the 11 people involved in this role-playing game, the one who had sold the most cars was none other than him, so what was there to fear? Jung Baek angrily took out a business card from his pocket and gave it to Jung, muttering, Okay, talk to me privately later. Meanwhile, when everyone was ready, Choi gave the first task. You have to sell the 1000 model. This time Choi Hong was playing the role of the customer. Everyone start from the entrance and act as if you're doing a real consultation. Called by the team leader, Choi Hong got up and stared at the new employee, saying, Don't be nervous. Show me what you've got. After a month of learning, this old fox was just pretending to encourage the new guy, and he wasn't going to let anyone off easy, even if they were a beginner. The role-playing formally began. Jiang went to the customer and bowed politely. Hello, sir. I'm a consultant from the showroom, and my name is Jiang. After standing straight, he handed over the business card, making sure not to cover the brand logo. The card was placed in such a way that the customer could clearly see the name. These were small details, but this is where things start to build. A friendly smile appeared on his face, and he asked a familiar question. Is there anyone specific you're looking for, sir? Choi Hong, who was playing the role of the customer, shook his head curtly. No, this is my first experience in a showroom, so please guide me, sir. Is there any particular model you have in mind? Mr. Hong pretended to think. Something like a sedan, but a bit bigger. Zhang smiled. We have exactly such a model, which is larger than a sedan and is the flagship model of the Taylor line. It's also a newly released model called the Phaser. After looking at the car for a while, a displeased expression appeared on Choi Hong's forehead. Doesn't this car look a bit ugly? A difficult customer directly criticized the car in front of him, and the purpose of role-playing was to train employees to deal with such various customer situations, but usually it shouldn't have been this difficult for a new employee. These thoughts ran through Zhang's mind, but outwardly he remained completely calm. Sir, it might look ugly if you look at it from this angle. Could you please look at it from this side? Following Zhang's instructions, Choi Hong looked at the car from a new angle. Suddenly, his eyes lit up, and he felt surprised looking at the car from a new perspective. The entire car began to shine in the beautiful showroom lights as the reflection of the light highlighted the car's texture. Then Zhang asked, "How is it, sir?" Better than before, right? If you look at it from this direction, you can feel the car's overall lines and sculpted forms. The parts that are reflecting light show us different colors. Hearing Zhang's voice with his confident and firm expression and seeing his demeanor, everyone in the room was shocked. Bro, what was that expression? He looks like the boss of the whole game. Still, Zhang moved to the other side of the car and went to the door. How does it look when you see it from this angle, sir? Choi Hong seemed to be under some kind of spell. He followed Zhang without saying anything. Choi Hong was so engrossed in this mood that he was completely unaware of the outside world. And what was outside? Zhang Bak immediately recognized that Choi Hong had unknowingly fallen into Zhang's rhythm. With some smooth and chill words, Zhang had set up his game without any hassle. Now, any new fool who says, "Please look here, look there," would be making a big mistake. Just giving orders wouldn't work. First, Choi Hong had called the car ugly. Now he was trying to find every flaw in it. It's probably because it's a bit heavy and tall, I think. But this car looks quite ordinary. Don't you think so too? Consultant, like Choi Hong, without asking, opened the car door and sat inside. Zhang didn't panic at all. Sir, if you're comfortable, can I adjust something inside? Then he adjusted the height of the sun visor and Choi Hong sneered, Hey, it's only half open. How strange. The depth in Zhang's eyes made him say without hesitation, the height of the sun visor that you found strange is the same height as the one in the car you used to drive. As soon as Zhang adjusted the sun visor, the entire feel inside the car changed. Choi Hong himself felt this change. What the heck was that? Choi Hong said. The space in this car has completely changed and the comfort is not found in the old sedan. Choi Hong, who had previously believed something else, now felt a bit ashamed. How does it feel? This is the biggest plus point of this model, isn't it? Outside, everything looked slightly amazing with Zhang smiling. Whatever he did, he had completely internalized it because this was Choi Hong. As soon as he had called this car cramped, Zhang knew where it was naturally headed. Choi Hong's deliberate stalling was also irritating the manager, but Choi Lian-baek remained calm. You're still raw, Choi Hong. After all, team leader Choi Minyo was a kind of snake who, despite being the youngest, would attack directly. So this wasn't just a challenge. It was a probing intrusion where he was testing the other person's boundaries, man. The atmosphere was tense. Before a full-blown fight could start, Zhang landed a precise jab, and no, it wasn't for the youngest member. The real targets were Zhang and branch manager Li, who in return received a strong blow. As the saying goes, as you sow, so shall you reap. Not showing it outwardly, Li was probably fuming inside. Zhang Baek, who was very excited, asked the assistant manager sitting next to him, "What do you think about that newcomer's competition?" The assistant said, "He's perfect. He's very hardworking." Jung Baek happily whispered. Really? After a brief silence, Chang Mingyo, who had a very stern and unpredictable face, finally raised his hand, signaling that the practice was over. But Jung felt that the story wasn't over yet. The whole acting had become quite long, and he knew he had missed a chance to count. Chang Mingyo's ice-cold voice echoed. I don't need to assess the new guy because the practice took too long. But then Jung Baek, who was sitting next to him, shot a question that startled Choi. Hey young man, what's the total length of that car? Tell me. Jung was overjoyed inside. He quietly replied, the length of the car is 5,100 millimeters. Then he elaborated. In business, especially as a salesman, personality matters a lot. If you are well recognized, you get special treatment. But other things, like the relationship between boss and subordinate, are as strict as in the army. If you haven't sold a car, even if your boxing is good, you still have to do it, because if you don't bring in revenue, you might get beaten by the higher-ups. And even today, after so many tough experiences, Jung Baek's thinking was the same, and his searching gaze was fixed on Jung, the newcomer. Good answer. So, what's the length of the GS model that was introduced in Dune? Jung Baek asked seriously. The length is 507 millimeters, Jung said, then without pausing, explained, this car has a long wheelbase design, which is a total of 295 millimeters long. And this is the length model of the same car's design. So bro, the thing is, why is a long wheelbase better? Then he said, team leader. A larger turning radius increases straight-track riding and driving stability, providing excellent comfort. Later, Jung Baek praised him. That answer was top-notch. But don't get arrogant. Understand. Learn about more cars, got it? Encouraging the new guy, he gently patted his shoulder. Look back. See those angry eyes of Choi Min-yo? Today's role play is over. Everyone did a good job, right? As people started to get up, Jung Baek gestured to Jung, wiggling his fingers. A little later, both sat in an empty room, and Jung Baek asked a question. Young man, tell me the truth. Is this your second chance? Jung was startled, as if caught. But Jung Baek's next line was, are you kidding me, man? I just asked because you're so good. Have you done business before? It feels like you're not using your full power. Jung bowed his head with a laugh and said, no, it's not like that. Team leader Jung Baek, even if he was teasing a bit, was actually a very cool and clever person. This question was a way of teaching him. The important thing to remember was, listen man, you did great this time, but don't do it like that next time. Understand? Jung Baek said comfortably, leaning back. Jung bowed his head. Sorry, senior. Do you even know why you're saying sorry? Jung Baek chuckled and patted his shoulder. Yeah, good. You understood. But man, you should keep learning, okay? Okay. Now go. The meeting is about to start. Come out later. Suddenly, the assistant manager whispered, team leader, should I teach him a little? Jung Baek was a bit confused. Teach him? What do you mean? The assistant manager said, what do you think? He knows everything? What are you saying? Jung Baek said irritably. Yes, I know what he's doing wrong, the assistant manager said to himself, but Jung Baek was sure he didn't know anything. Then Jung Baek says, he's not like our assistant manager, a bear, but if he's a fox, he's just a normal fox. No, he's a nine-tailed fox, the assistant manager asked with a bit of innocence. But team leader, you hate foxes, right? Do you remember? You always say, I hate foxes. Jung Baek got angry and shook the assistant manager by the shoulders, saying, man, how can you be so naive? Don't stop, run. Oh man, the thing is, as soon as Jung remembered yesterday's events, the whole drama of his past life came back to him. Team leader Jung Baek had joined the company earlier, but Choi Min-yo was in a top position in the company due to his age, experience, and sales. But Choi Min-yo could never take Jung Baek lightly because he had direct orders from the director. By the way, in his previous life, the two had never clashed because Choi only focused on his sales, and anyway, neither Jung Baek nor Choi ever bowed their heads, so there was no need to fight. That's why Jung had never seen them talk to each other, but what happened yesterday was new, and Jung absolutely didn't want to get dragged into company politics in this life. Yes. It seemed like he had sided with Jung Baek, but in reality, he was just thinking about making money so he could pay off his old debts. At the same time, he wanted to enjoy life by being around cars, touching them, and driving them. This is life, gotta do great business, right? Then after a while, his first month's salary was also coming. The basic salary of an imported car salesperson is about 1 million plus commission, but for now he was a trainee, so he hadn't sold any cars yet and wasn't even allowed to talk to customers. Anyway, this was Zhang's first salary, so wouldn't it be too much if he ate meat? During this time, suddenly a loud noise came from the office, like an earthquake. Everyone ran out in fear. Oh my God, what's happening? Looking outside, they found out that the noise was from branch manager Lee Song-shik, who was furious. He was terrifying. Can't you people see anything? What are you doing? Do you really want to see me angry? Hearing this voice, Zhang felt inside that yes, it was the same old voice. Out of the 30 days in a month, he would be in a soft and warm mood for 25 days. But for 5 days when he was angry, everything would change. After all, the end of the month was approaching and their targets hadn't been met, so the manager's anger was justified. The branch manager ordered everyone to leave. If this continues, we're all finished. He was as angry as a volcano about to erupt. Everyone ran away in fear. Just then a senior colleague came to Zhang and said, "Don't go out, you'll get Yeah, absolutely. After the first salary, there's bound to be good food, man." What he said was, "If you people don't bring in customers from outside, do you want me to really go crazy?" It's the same old thing in the last days of the month when targets weren't met. The situation would become like this. In such a situation, Zhang thought that if he wanted to do his own business in life, then he would have to endure all this. Good food is a must with the first salary. Oh man. This was the perfect time to run. As soon as they heard the director's angry voice, everyone started running out of the room. In the office, Zhang Bak was sitting with a big smile like a flower in bloom and praised him, saying, "Yes, absolutely, keep doing this. You must have been scared by the branch manager shouting, right? But still, you came here to report. Good job." But it seemed like the team leader's eyes were still on Zhang. Zhang asked, a little confused, "What about me?" Jion Bike says with a laugh, "You don't have a car, do you?" In the previous life, it was absolutely impossible for a non-imported car salesperson to be without a car. When Zhang didn't have a car at first, he faced many difficulties in the beginning. He even bought an old and broken down car. Still, he worked for a year without a car. His business was slower compared to others, but this time he found out that the team leader knew about it. Jion Bak said with a laugh, "It's no big deal. I saw you at the subway station. My house is in the same area." Hearing this, Zhang didn't ask any more questions. He just smiled and said, "I'll get a car soon." Cheon Baek then suddenly took out a car key. Now Zhang had a slight idea, but his face was completely calm and serious. Cheon Baek extended the key towards him with one hand and said, "Cars are not given for test drives, but sometimes when customers have accidents, the car company lends them a car, and that car is also insured." Zhang nodded slightly while listening and said, "Thank you." In an instant, Jiyoung Baek's face showed a bit of surprise. He thought this boy was taking the key without any excuse. Zhang said with a laugh, "I understand your great kindness. I am very grateful." Jiyeon Bak said happily, "Yes, that's right. Finally, it's good that I can talk to a human being. Otherwise, until now, I've only been talking to dogs and bears." Zhang bowed again and said, "I will work hard." The team leader's humility and simplicity made Jiyeon Bak very happy. "Yes, okay, take the car for a test drive. I've parked it in the back parking lot." Jiyeon Bak watched Zhang leave, and there was a mysterious smile in his eyes. What kind of plan was this? Or did he really want to help the new boy? Only he knew. Zhang placed his hand on the basement door connected to the parking lot and stood there quietly thinking. Lee Sang-sik, Choi Min-ho, and Ji-an Baek. In this life, he had already met these three 2 years earlier. Otherwise, instead, and improving the business situation 2 years later, branch manager Lee Sang-sik would have to resign. Choi Min-ho would take advantage of that opportunity and become the sales head and also the branch manager. Meanwhile, Ji-an Baek would also face a downturn, but he wouldn't quit his profession. He would hold on for another 5 years because he had to take responsibility for 2 people. Oh man, this was the perfect time to impress someone. Jiang Baek brought in the assistant manager and the manager who were very weak in sales and put them on his team as well, and Jiang Baek was not the kind of man who would easily change his job. Perhaps his stubborn nature was Jiang Baek's biggest plus point. Finding the right car in the basement, Zhang opened the door and sat inside. Compared to Jiawan Baek's relaxed personality, his car was spotless. When he pulled the car out of the basement and merged into the busy city traffic, Jung felt a bit of excitement and nervous. He was going in a specific direction, and this was going to be the start of his first sale in this life, and this sale had to be made to a very specific person. Soon the car left the city and headed towards the lush green mountains. Jung didn't know how far he had driven, but finally he stopped the car in front of an old-style house. He rang the bell, but no one opened the door. Was the owner not home? But Jung remembered that he was usually home during the day. Just as Jung was about to leave, a door opened from inside the house and he stopped. He peered inside the fence and saw that it was indeed the door to the house. An old man, looking well-built and strong, peered out and asked, "Who is it?" Then Jung said with a heartfelt smile, "It's my first time meeting you. I'm from Taylor Car Company. I'm Jung." This old man's cold demeanor would have made anyone feel strange, but Jung was not at all uncomfortable in that situation. "Sir, I just came to check on you. I heard that the chairman is planning to buy a car, so Director Choi sent me." Seeing this young stranger's politeness and appropriate behavior, the old man thought for a moment but was not as unpleasant as before. "Okay, come in." "Thank you, sir. By the way, which Director Choi is this?" "Sir, this is Director Choi, who designs interiors." Hearing this name, the old man's brow furrowed. "Did Director Choi talk to me about buying a new car? I don't remember." To this, Jung simply smiled and replied, "I don't know, sir, but in Pittsburgh last time I spoke to you once." The old man didn't ask much. He just blamed his memory and changed the subject, asking, "So, which car company are you from?" "Yes, sir, I'm from Taylor Car Company. This car is from America." "American goods are good, but why did you come all the way to my house? When I have time, I'll come to the showroom and see the car." Hearing this, Jung just nodded. Then he focused on the entire car selling process. Jung saw that the old man's eyes were very cold. He didn't answer the question, but still, with a smile and without any embarrassment, he asked, "Sir, if it's not too much trouble, could I get a glass of water?" Hearing this, a hint of surprise flashed in the old man's eyes. Then Jung pointed towards the kitchen and said, "My throat is dry. Please give me a glass of water." This was the first time this old man had seen a guest in his house ask for water. The old man was a bit confused, but still, he brought water and placed it on the table. After that, he said in a stern voice, "Drink the water and then leave from here. When I have time, I'll call you to see the car." Yes, thank you very much, sir." Jang took the glass of water in his hand and took a deep, satisfying gulp. Then he deliberately noticed the picture hanging on the wall and said with a smile, "Sir, you look very good in golf. Looking at that picture, it seems like you are a professional player and also a golf pro." Golf was the old man's hobby, and as soon as Jung brought up this topic, the old man's sternness lessened a bit. "Ah, that time was really good. Do you play golf too?" "I do play, but my skills are very bad." "You are too young to like golf," the old man said. Then Jung seized the opportunity and said casually, "Then when I get a little older, will you teach me golf?" Fearing this, the old man thought for a few moments. Then he burst into laughter. But then, changing his demeanor again, he waved his hand and said, "It's very cold. I'm dying. Drink the water and then go." This was their first meeting in this life. But in the previous life, this was the same old man who had given Jung his first failure. The same stern behavior and sharp words were there. "Okay, don't come to me now. I have no business for you. Come again when you become good. Yes, by then you will have become the king of sales." These words that the old man had said in the previous life were now echoing in Jung's ears in this life, as if crossing time and space. Yes. Now the king of sales has arrived, Jung said to himself with a smile. Returning the glass, he thought, "Sir, I really wanted to see you again." In the previous life, he couldn't keep the promise he made to his father, nor could he fulfill the promise he made to that old man. There was a simple text message that informed about the death of the phone number's owner, and this message was sent to all contacts. But that name had touched Jang. When doing business, you meet many people and make many promises. It's important to maintain these relationships. Jang himself had a strong principle: give more importance to funerals than weddings, with black suits and burning incense, because people remember solace more when they are sad. But above all, the fact was that after the customer left, Jang was just a car salesperson, nothing more and nothing less. His principle was always like that. And this time, his first customer, that old man, was no longer in this world. "If there's any problem, please tell me. I'll take full responsibility." This was the sentence that Jung often said to his customers. Besides this, even after the sale, he wanted to keep this seemingly useless promise. After paying his respects to the old man, Jung bowed his head to the son. When the ceremony ended, the son raised his head and asked, "What was your relationship with my father?" I was his dealer. Actually, I am an employee of the car company," Jung replied. The son was a little surprised because he had seen someone else last time. Thinking, the son remembered something and said in surprise, "Are you from Taylor Car Company?" Jung smiled and said, "Yes, I am an employee of Taylor Company. My name is Jung. I work in Seoul now. I had spoken to your father a few times before." Hearing this, the son's face softened a bit and he said jokingly, "Wow, so have you become the king of sales now?" "Not yet. There's still a long way to go," Jung replied with a smile. Sometime later, placing a cup of tea on the table, the son slowly spoke about the past. "The first time I heard about you from my father, I thought it was impossible. An employee never remembers a customer who doesn't sign a contract. So when I heard that if his friend Jung came, he would definitely change his car, I didn't understand and laughed a lot. Oh, I forgot to give you my business card. Although I am just a replacement, we'll meet again, and I'll buy a car too." Hearing this, Jung nodded firmly and said, "No, this was a promise I made to my father and I came very late. I just came to see him one last time today." It was difficult for the old man's son to hide the pain on his face. Tears welled up in his eyes. "My father was very sad. I shouldn't have left him alone. I should have taken him to the hospital sooner. Then maybe. The memories of the past plunged the son into deep regret, causing him to tremble and try hard not to cry out loud. Then Jung comforted him with a smile. "Back in the present, in this new life," Jung said with a laugh, "I'm smiling because this tea smells so good. Did you make it yourself?" This compliment surprised the old man again. "You even know how talented you are. Wow." Jung replied with a smile, "What to do? I'm almost 30 now, so I'm not young at all, sir." This was their first meeting, but instead of distance, Jung created an atmosphere as if he were meeting an old client with whom he had worked for a long time. Jung had to do this because this was the way the old man liked it. This was also Jung's way in his previous life. He didn't know it then. That's why he only tried to talk a lot with the enthusiasm of a new employee. He was like a multi-level marketer. His constant sales pitch was nothing more than a parrot's repetition. "Our cars are very good. Please buy our cars." But the old man still showed a lot of patience, explaining to him like a junior and giving a lot of useful advice. It wasn't because of Taylor's cars, but because he saw honesty in Jung's character. But when he signed the contract, the result was still a failure. He really couldn't understand what the old man was thinking at that time. As he was lost in thought, the voice of the old man interrupted him. "Do you have so much free time that you come to meet a customer and don't even give your business card?" Hearing this, Yang smiled. "Is it that important? From now on, if you want to buy a car, just call me. Think of it this way. I'll be responsible for your car from now on." The old man scoffed at this confident remark and said, "I don't see anything good in you." So, why didn't Jang give the old man his business card? The reason was that only after a new employee had worked for 2 months at Taylor would they receive a business card with the word consultant on it. "Sir, though you are a bit strange, you are someone who never lies to others. You might not be able to run a business yourself, but your understanding of people is quite strict. That's why people say you do business with those who know how to work diligently." What Jung said reflected what he had observed about the old man's personality. Of course, his words were somewhat accurate, and for that reason, the old man looked at him seriously and asked, "Did Director Choi Hang tell you this?" Sai Gang nodded while placing his teacup on the table. Director Choi didn't say anything, but in the architecture industry, everyone knows that Yeko Pamich is an experienced man. "If I had known that you would come to buy a car later, I would have wanted to be your consultant. That's why I'm here. If you want to become a salesman, this is how it's done." "What is this kid saying?" The old man was a bit surprised. "You speak very well, though." At that moment, Jang suddenly stood up and walked toward the door. In front of the old man's eyes, he picked up a marble ashtray and placed it on the table. "Thank you. When you saw it, if you want to smoke, please go ahead." The old man tapped his cigarette on the edge of the ashtray. "Son, I don't smoke." "Then why do you carry a lighter?" "Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to talk to you anymore." It seemed the old man's mood was a bit unstable. So after a while, both of them sat quietly without speaking. When the old man had nearly finished his cigarette, Cho Panchang looked at Jiang again and asked, "So how are your cars? Has the one suitable for me arrived?" "Yes, sir. You'll really like it." "All right, let's go take a look at the car." Watching the old man's back, Jiang thought for a moment and quickly followed him outside the gate. In front of them stood a luxury, modern, black-colored car. It wasn't too flashy, but looked classy. The old man walked around the car several times, inspecting every corner carefully. After thoroughly examining the exterior, he began to check the interior in detail as well. "Sir, when would you like the car to be delivered?" "You're going to the golf course with your friends at the end of this month, right? By then, my friend will have the car nicely packed and delivered right outside the golf course." Hearing this, the old man was shocked and shouted, "Oh my God, how did you know? Are you some kind of fortune teller?" "Well, sir, a salesperson who dreams of becoming the king of sales is kind of like a fortune teller," Jiang replied with a laugh. When he had first entered the house, he had noticed two golf clubs in the corner of the room, polished daily and proudly displayed in the living room. A date on the calendar was circled in red. Moreover, the old man himself had mentioned a few things about his past. So Jiang just connected the dots and made an educated guess. But to be honest, that was all he had going on in his mind. Still, how could he admit that? So just assume that he's half a fortune teller. Seeing Jiang's friendly smile, Chopamchak said, "Now I'm a bit scared," and wrapped his arms around himself, shivering. "Oh God, it's really cold outside. Let's go inside. We'll sign the contract there."